What's up? I'm waiting for you.
What up?
You have this started.
What is up, people? It's Christian Olson with the Frank Oliver Collective, alongside with
Liv Skofteland here back. I was
special
just on.
guest.
I
Yeah,
know,
how long ago was
2
that?
months in two times in a month after not doing it
Yeah,
for like 8 years.
What was that, like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, like literally.
I think
2 weeks
before
ago.
that, the last one that you were on here was probably at our very old office.
I know, it was at Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
Crazy
Yeah.
times.
Crazy times. That's insane. What is it like to be on the other side of the camera?
It's much better. You don't have to do anything. Just on TikTok.
You're just typing away,
Occasionally you
editing some
guys
stuff. And
Ask me a question. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
well, now we get your direct opinion.
I know.
And you get to participate. How fun.
So excited.
We send out a blog every, I guess, Monday morning, posted to our website. A lot of great information about the market, just things going on, things to do to your house, getting ready for spring, just whole plethora of ideas. But today's is a little bit about the market crash. And for someone who's on our team that's not an agent, does a lot of our marketing, what do you hear about the market crashing? What is your opinion? How do you feel?
Yeah. So my the reason that I like choose blog topics I write sometimes, like especially this week and last week, is a direct result of conversations I have with my friends and family about the market. And like they don't see me as someone in real estate. They see me as someone who just has a job. Like they don't consider what I do real estate related at all. So they think I don't know what I'm talking about. So these are the conversations I have with them. And then I write all these like blogs about like all the things I wish that I said to them in the moment instead of just like, yeah, you're right. I have no idea.
You're a knowledge broker.
Exactly.
Well, so like we obviously talk about a lot. You kind of hear some things maybe in passing, or maybe you just kind of hear a conversation around. And then when you're writing these, again, what is your like honest opinion for someone who's not a licensed agent, not fully fledged, like immersed into real estate, but you do work somewhat in the industry?
Yeah, I think like for market crashing, that kind of thing, like after like listening to you guys and like reading like the data and stuff like that, I understand why the market isn't going to crash. Because whatever happened in 2008 is obviously never going to happen again because of like the regulations that they put out there, which is obviously a good thing.
Yeah.
But I also understand why my brother wants the market to crash so that he can buy a house.
Yeah.
And everybody wants those really low housing prices again, but then it's like, then you do realize then your house is worth less. Like once you buy it, it's not magically going to be then again worth $500,000. Then it's now not worth that much.
So like, let's paint a picture real quick. Even if the market were to crash,
what does that even mean?
Well, let's just say home values went down.
Okay.
Does it truly benefit the consumer?
Right. That's what I want to know.
Well, not even from like, your house is worth less. Obviously, that's very unfortunate, but more so like someone who hasn't bought a house yet. Does he own a home?
My brother, no.
No. Okay. So he's waiting for the home prices to come down so he can get in at the right time.
Exactly.
Right. If that were to happen, how many other people would be knocking on homeowners' doors and lined up ready to rock and roll?
Just like when the interest rates were so low.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, not to play devil's advocate here, but you have to look at both sides of the coin and say, hey, look, like if home prices do come all the way down, there's going to be 1 million people in the market, right? If interest rates go to 2%, 5%, right now there's so many people on the sidelines just waiting to purchase a home. They can't wait to get just a whiff of that 5% rate.
That's what everybody wants.
I mean, it's crazy.
They take 5.99. They're like, as long as it's 5 in the first place.
Honestly. And you know, this year is definitely a special year for a lot of people that are looking to get into the market. And you heard this morning from one of our webinars. It's all about 5.
Yeah.
So 5% interest rates, 5.5 million home sales, which means 11 million sides. So buyers and sellers total. And then the other one was 5% equity growth for all homeowners out there. And I think the biggest reason that you'll see the equity growth is because rates come down. Right. Then we have to also look at it being an election year. So any presidential administration going into an election is going to do what they can to leverage and get people on their side. Rates are probably going to be coming down.
Of course.
Right. And not just from that, but the Fed has been talking about it. As long as the economy goes in a way that we see positive, I don't know what the term would be, but you see inflation come down, right? Like
Yeah.
Rates will be in a very interesting place. And I don't know. I feel like if you ask agents, like you can feel how busy the market is already. Like people are starting to poke around again, and things are gonna ramp up here real soon. But yeah, so you said it was your brother
who wanted to wait for the market to crash. Yeah. My brother and my best friend, shout out, who's in town from college this weekend that I had this conversation with.
That's fun.
He was like, the market. He's
Does he look at the other side of the coin of like, okay, if home prices do come down, there's not enough inventory to help the people who will be in the market at that time.
Right. Exactly. That would be the problem.
There's no, like the amount of inventory, and let's go to our blog. So I feel like it's mentioned in here. Housing supply is lower than ever before, and we have it from 1999 all the way to today.
Yeah, I'll put this graph on the screen because you can see like how low we are down there.
Yeah, and you look at annual average months of supply for homes for sale, right? If we go back to even the COVID times, good Lord, we were anywhere from 3.1, 2.3, 2.7, and we're still hovering around that. When you go look at other years, let's take the 07, 08, where the crash was and everything like that, there was a average month supply of 10.4. So there was inventory
like a year's
out
supply
there,
almost.
Right? Yeah, there was so much inventory out there. And even through all these other years, when we get down to these really competitive rates and times where so many people want to purchase a home and in the market, like people are in the market like more than ever before, right? Just same thing buying and selling. It just can't keep up, right? And
yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
There's still so many buyers. And like, I don't know, you're the one that has to write offers and like get them. I mean, I've seen your buyers not get their offers accepted. Like it's happening still today. The same things that were happening before.
Yeah. And not to say it's not as crazy as it was during COVID, as at least right now, today. And today is what, the
11th.
Yeah, March 11th, right? But as we move into the spring and the summer, and if rates come down a little bit, again, there's so many people that were on the sidelines. Could you see a lot of properties go for very well over asking price, waiving inspections, could appraisal contingencies or
of course, all those
appraisal gap coverages come back into play? Probably. Like I had
moving into this year.
Yeah, I had a client even late last year, kind of in the off season, put in an offer on a home, and there's 17 offers on the property, and they're just like, this is insane, right? So
that is crazy.
You know, there's a lot of demand. And just not a whole lot of inventory to supply it with, right? Like new construction, not to, be a big fan of them, but they do offer a lot of great incentives, whether it be a rate buy down or credits to purchase your home, right? To change some of the things. And, looking at it, sometimes it's like hard to say no. And I think it opens a lot of door for people. The problem they get there is like location.
I was going to say the worst part about buying that is then you have to live in one of those new development neighborhoods. The ones I pass by and I just cringe. Oh God.
And I'm not going to,
no offense.
There are some that I'm like, okay, this is kind of neat. But I don't know. It's just like, to some people, they're not always in the ideal location. And the people that want them are looking for something very like specific, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, and that's why I think new construction doesn't always cater to people, because it doesn't offer something specific. It's very cookie cutter. It's like, hey,
of course.
Here's our lot of land. Here's the types of homes we build. You got 3 options. Which one would you like, right?
Oh, that's what my parents did in Florida too. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, here you go. Here's 4 houses to choose from.
Yeah.
Which one do you want? It's like, seriously?
Yeah, but I mean, it's
the house is beautiful. I mean,
it's kind of streamlined and it's
like,
streamlined and it's nice, and those people know what they're doing, and it's much easier and less expensive than going out and buying your own land and building on top of that.
For sure. I mean, that's so expensive.
But yeah, it's just very interesting to see where the market's going. Like I can just feel it. Like this bubble's about to burst in spring and summer. It's gonna take off.
Again.
Yeah.
Well, what's your statistic that you were talking about earlier?
Oh God, I don't know if it's like even really relevant.
I think it is. I think there's something interesting about it.
So we were talking about, the population between the ages of 18 and I did 65.
That's fair.
And then if we look at 5.5 million sales here in 2024, again, that's 11 million buyers, sellers combined. If we took the percentage of the population that's going to be buying and selling, it was like 6.6%. Yeah, 6.6% of the population this year will be buying and selling. Now, I feel like it's kind of a low
You feel
number.
like it's low.
I don't know, because I just never thought about it like that. It seems like a very interesting statistic that I've never like dove into. It's like, what percentage of people are going to be buying this year versus last year and the other? I mean, maybe if we break it down as a population as a whole, right? But like, maybe I'm just like blown away about the actual population
really,
size.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And also, but like 11 million doesn't seem like that many, doesn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know why that doesn't sound like a lot. Like, you're right. It sounds like not that big of a number.
I feel like a lot of it like would just be due. Like, I feel that number has to be capped because of inventory.
Yeah, no, and I think
like
that's a big part of it.
If there was more inventory, that number of people that would be buying real estate would be going up, right? Yeah. So instead of having 11 million sides, maybe you're at, I don't know, 11.5, 12 million sides, and the percentage would change of people looking to buy today. But that is very interesting to think about, because the demand has to have some sort of hold on the amount of people that can buy real estate. You know, selling kind of a different story. You can sell whenever. I don't know what people's plans are, right? But yeah, that is another interesting statistic, and I've been like stumbling over this, like thinking about it pretty hard
about it all morning.
Yeah, I was up there just making phone calls, and I was like, all right, podcast time is almost here. Let me dive into some of the...
I think I just called 11 million people.
Yeah, right,
I'm pretty sure I did all the real estate this year.
Right, and I'm just like thinking like, wow, only... And I say only, but like 6.6% of people are going to be buying and selling real estate this year. Here's another thought. Mm-hmm. Not just the demand, but how many people could buy in... not on purpose, but increase that number, but decide to go rent.
Probably a lot.
You know, what would the difference be there? But then if all those renters came into the market, it'd be much more competitive, right? So like, all these things are so correlated.
Yeah. All the data.
It's wild to like dive into this and really digest it.
And I think something else that I found really interesting from the thing that we listened to this morning is when he was saying that, like, whether you're paying your own mortgage or you're paying rent, like, you're paying somebody's mortgage. And I think, like, it really made me think about the fact that real estate is inescapable. So even if, like, it really truly is, like, even if you're renting, like, even if you're not part of the 6.6% of people who are buying a house or selling a house, you are still interacting with real estate every year. You have to. Whether you choose to or not. Like, if you live inside of a structure, you are interacting with real estate in some way.
If you have a shelter.
You have a shelter. Listen, the IRS will find you if you have a tent. I'm sure of it. Like, you are in the grid.
You are participating in real estate.
You are. And like, it's inescapable. You have to be a part of it. Even if you're renting, you have to be a part of real estate.
Yeah. You
can't.
And then, like, I got an email the other day, and I'm not going to mention the person's name, and I don't know them too well. Mm-hmm. They were a prospective renter to one of my properties, and she has plans of moving to like somewhere over in Europe in, let's say she put in her email, 10 to 15 years. She was like, I have no plans of buying real estate because I'm going to be moving to Europe in 10 to 15 years.
Bro, buy real estate and then use that money to move to Europe.
Right. And like, I just don't get it. Like, that's your wild. Real estate portfolio, it's not just some house that you can buy and live in. And it is that, but it can be more, right? It's whatever you choose to make of it. But just passively, if you're living in it, you're paying down your mortgage, you have equity, you can use that to leverage some other plan that you have later on in life.
Yeah.
And how much more is she going to spend on rent in 10 years? So the property that we had in Colombia, how much did I rent? Yeah, how much
22 or something.
Did we have James's rented for 22?
Or like, was it on the market? Colombia, yeah.
It was a condo though. I want to say it was like 1900. Okay. So let's say she found a property like that for, again, $1,900, and let's do 12 months, and let's do that by
10
let's say 10 years.
Yeah, that's what she wanted to do.
The amount of money that this person will be paying is $228,000. I don't know if you guys can see that.
$1,000.
I don't know. Can you guys see that? $228,000, and she could use that when she goes to sell. God, she could like. Renting for 10 years at that rate,
it's insane.
She could have just bought the condo.
I know, more, twice over.
Right. So it's like let's really take the time to think about these things and what we're doing with it. And I kind of feel like I'm sounding like a financial advisor.
You said this last time too, and I thought it was really funny. You said, disclaimer, we are not financial advisors.
We are not, and we're not tax people either.
Disclaimer,
But when you really break it down and look at some of these numbers, it's almost like you're sitting down with someone to help you build your retirement account, or like help you finance your plans to go to Europe. Well, not finance your plans to go to Europe, but like you're purchasing a home, so then later you can achieve this goal. Right. You want to be there by this year. Okay, here's what we need to do. Mm-hmm. And the same person that's doing this rental, and I don't assume these things, but I wonder, like, do they have a retirement plan set up?
Right.
Where are they investing their money? Are they helping themselves fund this trip?
What is their plans for the future?
Right. And I think even in her email, she was like, I'm waiting for the home prices to come back down to 2012, so 13, 14 levels. And I'm like, just
have fun.
Yeah. I guess you'll be waiting until you go to Europe.
Yeah. Have fun doing it.
And then I wonder, like, because I'm not licensed over there, if she could purchase her home here, have a ton of equity, and I wonder what home prices are like over there and how real estate works in Europe.
No idea, yeah.
Right. Like, could she just buy something outright with the equity that she now has built up?
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Something to look into. It's at least something to look into.
Right, and I think if people aren't looking into it or aren't having like the conversations and reading, honestly, the power of reading has been kind of insane.
Oh yeah.
Like all the information that you guys could ever want to make a decision can be online at a good source, but I would even recommend just go to Barnes and Noble and pick up a book and
Wow. You're recommending reading right now.
This is where we've gone.
This is where we are as a society. I don't even recommend you buy a house. I recommend reading. Have you guys heard of Barnes and Noble?
This will help you. Yeah, so like if you buy a book, you're supporting the real estate of Barnes and Noble. You choose, all right?
What I want you to do is open your phone. Don't go to TikTok and click on that little compass at the bottom, and you'll actually get to the World Wide Web, and you can type in whatever you want.
Yeah, and like... knowledge helps people make the decision, and people say knowledge is power, which is true. I find it to be kind of cringe, but it's very true.
You like reading too.
Yeah, and I've been trying to do more and more of it lately. But the more information that you can take in will help you formulate a decision and what's going to be best fit for you. And the reason I'm here, the reason Liv's here, and our entire team is to help people make that decision for them and their family. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like people might feel like a lot of pressure and stuff with the market, but
of course.
You always want to be conscious of everything that's going on, and you need to move how time is moving, right? So
I feel like we're the least afraid of the housing market, like, because we look at these statistics all day and we're so immersed in it. Like, I'm not afraid of buying a house. I'm not afraid of the housing market, but like a lot of people have a lot of fear around it because they just aren't familiar with it.
Well, I think, because I don't think it's not their profession. It's nothing that they do, right? Like, I feel like it can be comparable, and this is it's extreme, but like someone that's going into surgery.
Sure.
Right? Like, oh shit, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what's going to happen. I read this paper and it says you could die, you could have a blood clot, you could
have to sign all that crap that they make you
and it's like, oh my God, I could go blind from the surgery, which I did meet with a surgeon a couple weeks ago, and like you read all these things and you're like, holy
I don't want to do
crap.
that.
Yeah, like why would I ever want to do this? It's scary, right? And then when I go and actually sit down with him, he like kind of breaks everything down. He's like, yeah, man, like you're in really good health. Don't see this happening to you. You're a prime candidate for great recovery, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So
and
like,
it's just routine for them. Like, we do this every day. We're fine.
Yeah, like
we're not worried at all.
Right, exactly. So we're in that same boat as the doctor when it comes to real estate and what's going on in the market. Here's another thing I want to mention, and I didn't even see this when I originally scrolled through.
Okay.
Foreclosure property.
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to somebody about those?
No, people are afraid of that word. You can't say that. It's like a bad word.
What do you mean?
People are afraid of foreclosure. They're like, foreclosure?
Like
what is that?
What people are afraid of it though?
People like that are 27 years old and have never thought about real estate in their whole lives.
Like, are they afraid of buying a home and being foreclosed on? Or
yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah, because what does that mean?
Well, they don't have a fucking house anymore.
What does it mean? Like, how do you buy a house in a foreclosure? Is it bad? Is it wrong?
Well, I mean,
is it going to be a bad condition house? Is there any inspections that are special that you need to get done? Do you have to get rid of all their stuff?
Probably be in bad condition.
See,
it's going to need a little. It's going
to
and like bad condition. What does that mean? It just like, who knows what it means, right? Like you have to go to the property. It's case by case, just like with anything, right? Like, foreclosures are very interesting, and same thing with like any REOs, maybe even short sales you can include in this category. But people always like say, "Hey, I want to get into foreclosures. I want to do this. I want to do that."
Really?
A lot of people, yeah, I have conversations all the time. Like, "Hey, I want to get into foreclosures. Like, I want to get a deal on a home."
Can you get a deal by doing this?
Can you ever get a deal from a bank?
No.
Right.
The bank is going to give you the worst deal.
Exactly. That's my.
I'm going to charge you $30 for not having enough money. Thanks, the bank.
I'm going to start using that line when I talk to clients that want to get into foreclosures. Like, has the bank ever cut anybody a deal? Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
But it's real. Like, so. I'm actually going through this with one of my clients right now. Shout out Courtney Looker. You're a trooper.
Oh, yeah.
And we're really excited to get to settlement with you. I know it's been a long time coming. We've worked really hard for this. But we learned that when you go through a foreclosure, REO, bank sale, anything like that, the bank has, I forget what the math is called, but it's some sort of math that they calculate how much it takes for them to hold it, have some sort of power on the appreciation, depreciation of the asset over a certain amount of time, depending on its condition, right? And they even know kind of some of the comparable homes in the area, what it would take to get that home to be a top selling home on the market, right? They have all of this calculated down to like the cent.
Yeah.
So you go into a foreclosure, you're like, all right, this home, it's $350,000. I'm gonna get it for $250,000, and then you submit your offer. Literally, shit you not.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, some dude at the bank just hits a button.
Like,
they don't even type anything. They don't do anything.
Care.
They just hit a button, and then your offer gets countered. And you put in at $250,000. They listed at $350,000. You know what their counter is?
$275.
The bank's counter.
Oh, the bank's counter.
$345. Right. And so now you come back to the drawing board. You're like, okay. I think they're going to budget. They're going to come down, and then boom, you throw in another offer. Now you're at $300. Because you're like, I'll go up a little bit and see what they do. I hope they get down to $325.
Yeah.
Or $320, and they're like, nope, $340. And then you try and counter again, and they stay at $3. Yeah, they go down $5. And with a lot of foreclosures, you only have a certain amount of chances, if you will, to submit your offer to the banks, right?
Okay.
And you can miss out on the home. It's very unfortunate, but these banks have their expenses and what it costs to hold these homes dialed in.
It's like an algorithm.
Yeah, and until it does not make sense for the bank, they will not let the property go. They understand the demand. They understand the inventory. What does that tell you? If a bank is holding, let's call it a beat up property, for lack of better term, and not wanting to swear, right? If they're holding a beat up property that needs some work, and they are holding it for top dollar, what does that tell you about everything else that's going on around you? Right? Like this property that needs work is still selling for this, but then a property that doesn't need work is now selling for this. Like, it's all correlated, and there is a trend to it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and they're not going to lose money, so you can trust them.
Yeah. I mean, the only time they would is a short sale, but those, like, if you're a buyer looking for a short sale, you have to be buckled up and ready.
I mean, I remember we had a short sale and it took like 6 months to close.
Yeah.
That was so
we helped a
long.
client sell it, and we went through 2-3 offers before we could actually get it closed. One, you have a short sale negotiator involved who helps negotiate on behalf of the buyer and seller to the bank to get the deal done, right?
Sure.
You still go through inspections.
Yep.
The seller has to agree to a price, just like a normal contract, and you have to take this and present it to a bank. And a bank will come back to you, and they can either say approve it or disprove it. Yeah, deny it.
Disprove.
I don't know.
It's false. It's disproved.
I couldn't think of another term. I'm off caffeine now, so
again.
Yeah,
Oh,
and this time I've been off for it's probably coming up on a week now.
Oh Jesus!
So like my brain is now coming back to like normal, and I'm
normal.
like, okay, so this is what life is.
All right, everybody, just leave Christian alone until he goes back on caffeine.
So where were we at? The bank. Oh, they either approve it. What was the word you said?
Deny it.
They either deny it. And if they deny it, okay, well, they will probably give you some sort of terms that you have to agree with. Okay. It could benefit the buyer. It could benefit the seller. It probably doesn't benefit either of them, except for the fact that the seller wants to sell and the buyer wants to buy. Yeah. So here are your terms, right? So at that point, again, you're at the mercy of a bank.
Yeah, and you just don't want to be there.
Yeah, and it can be a process from, I've seen them as quick as 30 days, and I've seen them as quick as 9 or as long as 9 months. It can go even longer. I've heard of them going over a year.
That's
to buy
insane.
a home. And then think about this. Let's say it was a $300,000 home that you spent a year under contract on as a short sale. If you went out and bought another $300,000 home, that home, if we know the equity this year that's going to be built up as 5%, that $300,000 home that you could have settled on, let's say January 1.
Yeah.
The next year is going to be $315,000.
Right.
That'll be your market growth plus you're paying down your mortgage. Well, not plus, but you'll also be paying down your mortgage payments. But if you spend a year under contract trying to negotiate this stuff with the bank, what are you losing? You
just lost the whole
what are you losing out on? Basically, Yeah. And I'm not knocking it. It's for some people, and it's not for some people. Just like whatever people want to do, I think they need to know the ins and outs and whatever makes sense for them and try and make that best decision.
That's really what real estate's so individual.
Yeah, it really is. And a lot of people think there's a magic answer or like, hey, what can I get pre-approved for? Like, they shout it out. Like, they're talking to the world here. And someone's going to be like, here, I got you $1 million. Here, I got you this. I got you that, without kind of taking a deeper evaluation. And you know what that led to? The crash.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. So here we come, full circle.
That's the problem.
But I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty good note to end on.
Sure.
Again, this year is about fives, people. 5% interest rates, 5.5 million transactions, so 11 million sides, and then 5% equity growth for all my homeowners out there. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here as a resource for you. My name's Christian Olson. You can find me on Instagram at Christian the Deadhead.
Follow our team account, Michael Frank ___ on pretty much every platform.
Hell yeah. And also, last thing, we are going to be hosting a home seller and home buyer brunch here real soon. Keep your eye out for the details. And if you're interested, just shoot us a DM and we'll get the sign up link over to you.
Sounds good.
Later, guys.
Bye.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. For more information on the housing market, Real Estate 101, how you can leverage your position in today's market, and so much more, click on the link below. If you like this video or have a burning real estate question you'd like us to answer, leave us a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you again real soon.